This week's show, we're going to be covering settlement services in the Prairies, Afghan refugee employment, the Migration Review Forum, the Gender and Migration Hub, and the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association of Prince Edward Island. On May 12th, rural communities across the Prairies announced an investment of over $14 million. These funds are to help expand the critical resettlement capacity and settlement services in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. This announcement comes from the Office of the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship. These investments include $10 million to extend case management services in 11 communities in both English and French, which will also help support vulnerable newcomers to successfully resettle into their new communities. Additionally, $4 million will be allocated to add 3 new resettlement assistant program services in Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie, Alberta, as well as Winkler, Manitoba. These organizations are key to enhancing access to support services for refugees in smaller and rural communities.
Part of Canada's initiative of resettling 40,000 Afghans is finding them meaningful employment. Many small businesses across Canada have stepped up to help Afghan refugees find this employment. Also helpful in this initiative has been the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association of Prince Edward Island, or IRSA PEI, which connects refugees to jobs in smaller communities across the province. Larger employers that are lending a hand also include McCain or Day & Ross, Maple Leaf Foods, Amazon, and Commissionaire, which is a non-profit, self-supporting organization and the largest private sector employer of Canadian Armed Forces and RCMP members.
Sean Fraser, Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship, led Canada's delegation to the International Migration Review Forum in New York. He presented 4 pledges to build momentum and contribute to the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration, or GCM. This also includes the Canada-funded Gender and Migration Hub. Minister Fraser also committed to increasing financial support to the global It Takes a Community social media campaign, which was implemented by the International Organization for Migration. The campaign promotes balanced narratives on migration that counter xenophobia and racism. Canada's 3rd pledge aims to support capacity-building projects in the Americas to increase positive experience for migrants. Finally, Canada will support activities to assist women and girls affected by irregular migration and forced displacement in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador. This is meant to help reduce the factors that contribute to high-risk migration and forced displacement. So, Sarah, you were mentioning employers in Canada, and on the topic of that, there seems to be a lot of services for migrants and refugees supporting them when they come to Canada. There seems to be an influx now.
Yeah, I think this week is pretty heavy in headlines for immigration settlement services, and I think that's great because, of course, the larger feat is getting to Canada, becoming a permanent resident or a temporary resident, whatever your plan is, but once you're here, you want to build a life for yourself, and I think these types of services and the influx in investment into the services is really going to help people do that.
Right. Yeah, I hope so too. And it seems that there's a lot of the government focusing on helping refugees and migrants have a more positive experience long term, not just when they come here.
Yeah.
But, for many years to come. Yeah.
I think long term is definitely key with immigration.
Today we're going to be talking about the Gender and Migration Hub, which actually has personal ties to me because part of the partners, the founding members, is actually based in Waterloo. It's called the Basile School for International Affairs, and it's run by Laurier in Waterloo, which I think is really cool. So, anyways, what is the Gender and Migration Hub? The Gender and Migration Hub aims to support migration services as it ensures that migration and other policies are gender responsive and align with principles of the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration, or GCM. The Hub provides multiple tools and resources for folks to become more involved. The Gender and Migration Hub website offers capacity building resources. Migrants are able to discover documents, reports, and training manuals grouped by theme. You can learn about gender responsiveness, gender's role in migration, gender responsive migration governance, and normative guidance on gender governance. Gender responsiveness refers to outcomes that reflect an understanding of gender roles and inequalities. These help people take action to encourage equal participation and benefits. It is transformative because it addresses the structural causes of gender discrimination and works to transform systems in place. Site users are also able to test their knowledge and gender migration to help gauge their understanding. The Gender and Migration Hub offers evaluative quizzes on resources above to ensure that you have a good understanding on gender-responsive migration. The Hub has also been developed in collaboration with project partners such as Women in Migration, the Bastille School for International Affairs, and the International Migration Research Center. Funding is provided by the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship of Canada.
Prince Edward Island, or commonly known as PEI, is a province off the east coast of Canada. Beyond being a beautiful tourist destination, it is home to the IRSA PEI, which stands for Immigration Refugee Association of Prince Edward Island. There are many settlement services across Canada, but this one in particular is helping Afghan refugees settle in their local region. Support when you arrive in Canada is crucial, and good support in local regions may even sway you to move to a particular destination in Canada. So let's see what the IRSA PEI has to offer. The IRSA PEI began as a nonprofit organization in 1993. The largest funding source comes from the IRCC, but other funding sources include federal, provincial, and municipal sources. Different programs are offered, and this includes the settlement services, employment programs, immigrant youth, language programs, and community engagement programs. Settlement services include a lot of different programs. First of all, there's intake and referrals. So if you register with the IRSA, you have access to all of their resources, and there are a lot. They can also refer you to other programs and services in the community that might be better for your specific needs. So other settlement programs include the Newcomer Settlement Program, the Francophone Settlement Services, Temporary Foreign Worker Support, International Student Support, and the Atlantic Immigration Program. This is a program that started off as a pilot, but because of its great success, it is now a permanent immigration pathway. Basically, it's for immigrants who would like to settle on the east coast of Canada in the Atlantic region. Also included in settlement services are refugee programs, and this includes the Resettlement Assistant Program, which is RAP, and we'll have a segment on that sometime in the future, and information for refugee sponsors, because community members and businesses in the community can sponsor refugees. There's also counseling support services, Canadian life skills programs, citizenship test preparation classes, and pre-arrival services for approved immigrants to Canada. This last one is a great help for people who are about to enter Canada and want to start getting acclimated to the culture already. It can make the transition a lot smoother for you. Also offered are employment assistance programs. This includes employment assistance for newcomers and employment workshops, some examples being Canadian workplace culture, networking for success, and social media and your career. And these are just a few examples. There are many different workshops, and they're all free. Employment resources, and the Atlantic Immigrant Career Loan Fund. Also offered are language programs, and this includes info on the Canadian Language Benchmark Placement Test. There's also English training offered for adults, and this is free for permanent residents once they've taken their placement test. And the placement test is also free on your first try. There are also interpretation and translation services offered through the IRSA. If you are coming to Canada with small children, then there are also resources for you here. For immigrant youth, there are family orientation and school enrollment services. Also programs and services for school-aged children, including the Bro Zone program and the Girls Circle program. Unique to the IRSA is the wealth of community support and community engagement programs offered. This includes the Holiday Host Volunteer Program. This is a program where someone in the community can host an immigrant family for a large holiday, a major holiday such as Christmas time or Halloween, something in the Canadian culture that maybe you might not be familiar with. They can host you, make you feel welcome, and help engage you in the Canadian culture. There are also social activities for newcomers and established islanders, so a combination of the two, and that includes a men's group and a women's group, senior social, and Friday friendship hour. Beyond giving you resources to help you fit into the community, the IRSA also strives to have the community engage with you and understand where you're coming from. Lots of different initiatives help accomplish this, and that includes a cultural inclusion training for workplaces, government representatives, schools, and other bodies of people to combat racism and stereotypes. There's also resources to other ethno-cultural organizations in the province, including their contact info. So that includes specifically Black Canadians and other cultural groups where you might feel more at home because there are other people who might be like-minded and come from the same country that you came from or culture. There's also a Diversity Multicultural Festival. This is an annual occurrence. It's part of PEI's Summer Festival lineup, and it takes place in multiple locations of the province, including Charlottetown. The IRSA in PEI has so much to offer newcomers. What's great about them is that they also create a community that is ready and willing to engage and make you feel comfortable as a newcomer. If you like what you saw, look into PEI and all it has to offer, and remember that there are similar settlement services all across Canada. Adrian, I found your segment really interesting. I think that the initiative there for the Immigration Gender Hub is a really cool one. And it sounds like you have a bit of a geographical connection there, right?
I do, yes. So in doing research for this segment, I learned that the Bastille School for International Affairs, which is based in Waterloo, is a partner that is running this resource. And it's essentially a resource that's available for all migrant and refugee service centers to help make their services a little bit more equitable in terms of gender, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's always cool to have see your school do things on an international or a national level. So
yeah, definitely. And it also seems like your piece on PEI had a very interesting geographical story for you. Do you want to share more about that?
Yeah, I've researched a couple of settlement services at this point, and I was really happily surprised at the amount of resources available to immigrants in PEI. PEI is a very small province off the coast of Canada, not a very big population. The immigration population is even smaller, so the fact that they're clearly trying to take care of people who are coming into the province is really nice to see.
Right.
It made me want to move to PEI.
Yeah, I've never been to PEI, but I've heard it's beautiful, and seeing that they're trying to support folks who are coming in really makes you want to visit it more.
Exactly.
That's all for today. Thanks for joining us this week. Be sure to click the bell icon and subscribe to the My Consultant channel. For more information on the topics that we covered this week, be sure to visit MyConsultant.ca, where you can speak to a registered immigration and citizenship consultant. I'm Adrian Quijano.
And I'm Sarah Ostapchuk.
And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.